Hey guys, it's Beth. Today I'll be using these two chopping mats and these two long hangers from Dollar Tree. I started by removing the hangers and putting wood glue on the edge of one of those long hangers and gluing those two together. Next, I'll be using these two 12-inch stir sticks from Amazon. One was just a little bit too long. They don't come exactly 12 inches, so I just used my Fisker shears to cut it down to size. Added wood glue and hot glue, and then placed it on the very edge of the two hangers. And I did the same thing to the other end. Next, I had this piece of cardboard. The top of it is 2.5 inches, bottom 1.5, and the height of it is 6 inches. I tried tracing it out on the chopping mat with pen, but it just was taking too long. So I ended up putting some tape on the back of the cardboard, sticking it right to the chopping mat, and then cutting out the pieces. I ended up only needing 7 of them. So after I had them all cut out, which I did cut extra, but I didn't need them all, taped them down and used pewter gray acrylic paint and metallic silver. Mixed the two. It was mostly the pewter color and probably about half of the amount of the metallic gray, just to give it a little bit of a shine. Painted all of the little cutouts with that paint, did 2 coats. And then I had also used this little bracelet, which is in the toy section from Dollar Tree. Cut a section of it out, painted that with the same mixture of paints, and then another little section of chopping mat. And you'll only end up needing 1 chopping mat. It comes with 2. Once those were dry, I put some hot glue on one side of the bracelet I cut down, put that piece of chopping mat on there, and then cut out the excess chopping mat around that bracelet piece. Next, I put some metallic silver paint down and a couple drops of maple gel stain, mixed the two together, and then took a piece of a sponge, put some of that paint on there, got most of it off, and then sponged that color over each of those cutouts. And the maple gel stain I got from Hobby Lobby. After I had that sponge layer on there, I took gel stain and then just a dab of the silver metallic paint and mixed those two together. So it's mostly the gel stain this time with a little bit of the metallic silver. Same process, a little bit on a sponge, getting most of it off, and sponge that on all of the pieces. Trying to get a little bit extra on some of the edges to give it a little bit of a rusty look. And this is what they look like when they're done. I just think it turned out really cool. And then I took bamboo skewers from Dollar Tree, painted those with black acrylic paint, making a mess. Just use a sponge brush, spun them around to get all of the paint on there. And I didn't end up needing to do the whole thing. I just made sure to get that pointed end painted. Next, I took this metal ring, which is from Dollar Tree. It was together, I cut it. It's an 8-inch ring. Painted that with the black chalk paint, which is by Folkart, and I did 2 coats on that. And then I started working on my board again. I taped off the 2 end pieces, those stir sticks I put on there. Added that maple gel stain. to that big center area and brushed it on with a sponge brush. And then just took a small paintbrush with a gel stain and got inside all of those lines on the boards. And then I taped off the center part of the boards next to the stir sticks and used Antique Wax by Waverly. Brushed that on both of the stir sticks and then blended it in with a baby wipe. And then I took the stencil from Dollar Tree, and on one edge of the board, I will be going downward, stenciling on the word Farmhouse. So I just got black chalk paint on a sponge, got most of the paint off, and sponged on each of the letters. And I made sure to dry each letter before moving on so I didn't smudge it, and then just went all the way down until I had the word completed. After I had the whole word on there, I just went back in with a small paintbrush and the same chalk paint and filled in all the gaps from the stencil. So next I took the little cutouts, which are blades of a windmill, and just placed them down on the sign, and took the metal wire, placed them over the blades to see where they were going to be going, and put tape on the ends of where the wire is going to be so I can glue that down first. Just made sure that my spacing was about the same, and then took that wire ring off and put hot glue around it. And since I'm trying to not make a complete mess, the glue kind of dried a little bit, so I'll be heating it back up and pushing it down to re-glue it, which I just do with my heating tool. And then I just have a finger protector that's glued onto a dowel, and I just push that down around where I'm heating back up the glue just to place it back down. And then I take my little half circle and put that back down, making sure I have it centered in between those two wires on the end, and hot glue that into place. Next, I take my skewer, which I had already cut down to size, and just take the pointed end of the skewer, put a tiny bit of hot glue on it, and place it right up against the little circle I had made, or the half circle, I should say, and then put some hot glue on top of the wire where the skewer meets it to glue that down there. Place my blade down to see where I need to put the glue, add hot glue to the skewer, and then place down the blade. And then I just continue that around on each of the blades until I have it completed. And that is it for this project. I love how it turned out. Thank you guys so much for watching. Today I'll be using 2 of these long hangers and 2 of these 12-inch pieces of wood from Dollar Tree and wooden biscuits from Amazon. I removed the hangers off of these 2 long hangers from Dollar Tree, put some wood glue along the edge of one of them, and then placed them side by side together, wiping off any excess glue. Then I took the 12-inch piece of wood, added wood glue and hot glue, and then placed it along the edge, which is actually the top of both hangers. Not quite at the very edge. I left a tiny space, maybe like a 1/4 inch, just making sure that it covered those holes on there. And then did the same thing with the other piece of wood on the other end. Next, I sprayed the hangers with some water just so the paint spreads a little bit easier. And then I covered the entire thing with 1 coat of black chalk paint by Folkart. Next, I put down some painter's tape with the sticky side up and then placed down my wooden biscuits. These I do get in a package from Amazon and they're size 20. I needed 34 of them, and then I took Plaster chalk paint by Waverly and gave them all 2 coats. I only painted one side of them and made sure to get all of the edges. After they were all dry, I took a sponge brush and put some black chalk paint on there, which is from Folkart, and I got most of the paint off the sponge brush and then just kind of like brushed it along the edge of all of them, kind of not all around the entire thing, just little pieces here and there. And then used my heating tool to dry those. Next, I took my sign, and on the wood pieces I had glued down, I just sanded the edges just to give it a little bit more definition and so it doesn't look like it's all blended in to the hanger on the back. And then I placed down this circle frame in the center of my sign just for the circle purposes. It's 12 inches, and this I got from Dollar Tree, and I'm just taping it down, and I'm just using that as a guide or a template for my circles for my biscuits. I took the biscuits and lined 17 of them up within that circle, just kind of at an angle. Once I had them set where I wanted them, I just picked them up one by one, hot gluing them down. After I had the last one glued down, I just removed that circle and then took the remaining biscuits and put them in between where the first 2 meet. Just at an angle again, just setting them all up first and then hot gluing them down into place. And then after I had them all glued down, I just used my heating tool to get rid of any hot glue strings. And that is it for this project. I'm super happy with how it turned out. Thank you guys so much for watching.